No pads, no helmets, no fear. We're getting set to rock and roll from K-Town. Kannapolis, North Carolina is the venue for the very first Carolina Cup in the North American Rugby League. This should be a ripper tonight. Big plans for Rugby League across the United States and Canada in 2022. And tonight, it's a taste tester. Hi, everybody. Jason Costigan's my name. Great to have you with us alongside Garen Casey for the call of tonight's first ever Carolina Cup. Garen Casey, a former professional player in both Southern and Northern hemispheres with the Parramatta Eels, the Penrith Panthers, Wakefield Trinity Wildcats and the Salford Reds. Garen Casey, I can't wait.
Hey, Costa, yeah, great to be here. Kannapolis has put on a great weather for us today, and really looking forward to the best players really hitting this out over 80 minutes.
Good on you, Garen. The temperature around 77 degrees Fahrenheit, a slight wind. It's a beautiful night in the fall of 21 for the first ever Carolina Cup. Let's have a look at the two lineups, starting with the red team, the team at the bottom right of your screen, just warming up. That's Team Burroughs. And a fullback is the captain himself, Ryan Burroughs. On the wings, Vegarano and Lussis. In the centres in jersey 14, a late change to Monte Noble and Sterling Wynn. The halves, it's an English-South African combination, Rism and Reed. The forward pack is Henry, Shaw, Brunker, Zuluaga, Hunt and Eichner locking the scrum at loose forward. And on the bench, Caprill, Elkins, Nalame, Barahona, Frazier and Saunders. And the coach, of course, is Ryan Burroughs. Former Rugby League World Cup player for the United States. In 2017 is Burroughs, and he's one of 5 players taking part in Rugby League World Cup experience. Here's their opponents, Team Newlin, with Nick Newlin locking the scrum and captain, but they start at the back with Blaylock, Forston, Paul Jr., Karoy, Knight, then the halves in 6 and 7 respectively, Kavanagh and Osborne. Up front, Offerdale, the man they call Captain America, great nickname, great player, look out for him. Then Fontana at dummy half or hooker, Davies is the other prop, and the back row of Malu, Jackson, and Newland himself, Nick, locking the scrum in 13. And on the bench, Walter, Allen, Granby, and Hicks. That's Team Newland for the first ever Carolina Cup. And I'll tell you what, Garen Casey, this is a whole new ball game for me. We've got AstroTurf in front of us, a great venue thanks to the city of Kannapolis. It looks terrific. Great setup here for Rugby League tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Costa. Yeah, AstroTurf over here is a very common surface. So just for the viewers out there, you'll see obviously the markings there for the American football. This is actually out of A.L. Brown High School in Kannapolis, a very prestigious high school. So just for you viewers at home, you'll see the blue markings, which will define the halfway line and the sidelines. So just pay notice of that. And the try lines is a white try line, but we'll keep everyone posted as we get through the game.
Good on you, Garen. A night to remember, pointing towards bigger things to come in 2022. And a big night also for the match officials. A shout out to the man who's in charge of proceedings here, just checking his timepiece, it would appear. That's Adam Shelton. He's Australian born and bred. He's just checking now, I think, perhaps with Ryan Burroughs, that we are ready. The referee, Shelton, a father of 2, as I say, he comes from down under, but nowadays he calls Florida home. And he has some experience, well and truly, with the whistle. In fact, 4 years ago, he was in the centre for the Americas Championship in Jacksonville. Adam Shelton, our man in charge tonight, and the 2 touch judges, Dean Cox and Alan Shimolewski, a former USA Rugby League international himself. In fact, once played in front of 30,000 Muscovites in the Russian capital when the Bears hosted the USA in the early 2000s. That's Team Burroughs in the red, lining up, and now Team Newlin coming forward for battle. We'll take a break. When we come back, the kickoff to the first ever Carolina Cup.
Tonight's special broadcast of the Carolina Cup is brought to you by Agave Marketing Solutions, the City of Kannapolis, the Hilton at the Newark Airport, and the NARL, North America's premier rugby league, kicking off its inaugural season in 2022. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping support the growth of rugby league in America.
Welcome back to Kannapolis, North Carolina, as we get set for kickoff here in the inaugural Carolina Cup. It's the team in white, that's Team Newlin, up against the team in red, Team Burroughs. Both teams coming together thanks to a draft that was actually live streamed. The rival captain coaches, if you like, Burroughs and Newlin, making their peak some weeks ago. And we have players here from all walks of life, from different ethnic backgrounds, from different parts of the rugby league universe. Some of them, of course, new to the game, many of them coming across from other codes, some with a background in track and field, American football, you name it. And tonight, an opportunity for both teams to showcase their talents here in Kannapolis. The big K in the middle of this magnificent facility in the city of Kannapolis, the Memorial Stadium that has stood the test of time since 1958, the AstroTurf going down 2 years ago. And as Garen Casey said on the other side of the break, the line markings here are a little bit different to regular rugby league viewers around the world. We are set to go. Adam Shelton is the man in charge. It'll be Team Burroughs running from right to left on your screen. Team Newlin to receive the rugby league football for the first time. Referee Shelton checking with both captains here in Kannapolis. The North American Rugby League's Carolina Cup is about to get underway. Ball on the tee, and away we go. Let's get it on. Team Newlin with first use of the ball and a bouncing ball. Luckily for them, they maintained possession. I think that was Blaylock. Fairly lackluster, the number one, letting the football bounce. You can do it in soccer, but not rugby league. And now Team Newlin, early in the tackle count in the opening 60 seconds, 30 metres out from their own line. Matthew Fontana directing play to dummy half. They get it up towards halfway. Strong defence from Team Burroughs on the far side of the field. That's John Paul Jr. in the headgear, playing it back as we see Team Burroughs muscle up in defence. And now comes across to Lance Kavanagh, puts up the kick. Team Burroughs have got it. Oh, they've lost the ball. First touch of the ball, and they come up with a spill after 60 seconds. Can you believe it? Garen Casey, dear oh dear.
This is something that you want in the first few minutes of the game. You really want to put pressure on early, try and get over that stripe.
Well, the coach's nightmare if you're Ryan Burroughs, the 30-year-old in the one jumper in charge of this red team, now called upon to defend once more. 90 seconds gone. Osborne with the put in at the scrum. And you can see the 9 at the back of the scrum for Team Newlin. Normally when you wear jersey 9, you play hooker in the middle of the front row. But a change here as both coaches, I dare say, playing Bucks and Drakes in what's supposed to be an exhibition game, if you like, playing for a trophy. But I get the impression they're playing for keeps. Team Newlin now with their captain Courageous out of the Atlanta Rhinos. Nick Newlin called on to play the football back to Fontana. It comes across now to Koopy Jackson. I like the name. Can he back it up on the field? I'm sure Garen Casey can tell us a few tales when we get the opportunity. This is Fontana. Offerdale, Captain America at dummy half, goes across to Osborne, the Fijian. There's a kick in behind the line. Burroughs. Well, he's put a foot on the dead ball line. That's right at the very end, on the cliff face, if you like. And because he's touched the line there, as you can see from the referee, Shelton, he has instructed the red team, Team Burroughs, to come up with a goal line restart. So more pressure coming up here on the Reds, Garen Casey, in these opening minutes in Kannapolis.
Yeah, 2 sets, 2 results. So let's see what they do here.
Team Newlin in possession. Five players with Rugby League World Cup experience, and one of them in Offerdale, who's been there twice before in 2 World Cups for the Tomahawks, as they used to be known. Fontana at dummy half, Newlin. It comes across now to Jackson, and it's a bumping run, and they deal with him. Called upon to play the football. It took some time. Now running towards the horns to the right of your screen. Fire truck in the background. We may well need it. Expecting some hot stuff tonight. Now a backline player kicking behind the line from Team Newlin. And Team Burroughs is away on that far side of the field. And they keep it going. Some counter-attack. Some pretty play from the red side. And they weather the storm. 4 minutes gone. No score in the very first Carolina Cup. Jason Costigan's my name. Calling the action here from North Carolina as we go sideline for the first time to find out what's happening. And let's go down to our good friend who's joined us for the broadcast in Dustin's Air. D, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Costo. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. We really couldn't have asked for a better evening this match. Weather down here in the pitch, as you said, 77 degrees. That's 25 for our international audience. It's clear skies and calm breeze. Looks to be a beautiful match. Unfortunately for Team Newlin, 2 late injuries this morning in training sessions, including a USA Hawk. Salisi Tongamoa has ruled him out of the match for tonight, leaving Captain Newlin with only 4 players on the bench. That might play a big role later stages, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Costo, back to you.
Good on you, Dustin. And just then, for a moment, I held my breath because Forston for Team Newlin spilling the lollies. And luckily for the team in white, they maintained possession, getting the rub of the green, if you like, from referee Adam Shelton. 5.5 gone. No score here in Kannapolis. Jackson throwing himself into the line. Still going straight up Main Street. Lovely footwork. Jackson must have spiders on his back. What do you reckon, Garen Casey?
He's one of those very deceptive players. You look at him and you don't think there's a lot of muscle on him, but he's tough, he's quick, and he's very good and agile on his feet.
Look at this. Kuroy goes over the top, chip and chase. That's what you do in your backyard, playing rugby league down under. We welcome our international audience in Australia, New Zealand, the UK, across the Atlantic, in France perhaps. I'm sure they're watching far and wide as we see Team Red now, Team Burroughs in possession right in front of the bench, not far from the blue line, which is the sideline. Newlin getting across there with a sense of urgency in defence for Team Newlin. But Adam Shelton says you are inside the 10 metres. They're offside, Garen Casey. Some pressure coming up here on Team Newlin and the Reds with a chance to pitch the tent and put some pressure on.
Yeah, a couple of times earlier, they've tried to put some pressure on Team Burroughs and just let themselves down. One thing to pay attention to these guys as you watch the telecast here, that these guys are pretty quick in their outside back. So you'll see a lot of counter attack here today. So don't switch off because you're going to get wall-to-wall action.
Good on you, Garen. Touch finder from Max Rism, 23-year-old Englishman out of the Rugby League mad city of Hull. I've been there, spent some time on Humberside, and they love their rugby league there, of course, with the two professional clubs, Hull Kingston Rovers and Hull FC. And Max representing his hometown in this game tonight in the six jumper, as we see Andrew Zulu Aga going up the middle. Big unit, isn't he? He'll play it back. And they keep it nice and central here, running at the teeth of Team Newlin's defence. 7.5 gone. And Team Burroughs in possession. There's a shift on here. Here's Burroughs. Burroughs looking menacing, threatening. Over the top she goes. And Team Burroughs will play from in front in Kannapolis. Noble gets the try out wide. And the Red Army is on the march in K-Town. What a start for Team Burroughs. 4-0, pick to come. Well, how about that, Garen Casey? There's a touch of Gene Miles with the pass going over the top. Of course, Miles, a household name for Brisbane Broncos fans in the NRL down under. But, of course, very much fondly remembered in the north of England at the Wigan Club, one of the great superpowers of international rugby league. And I'm sure Gene Miles, I'm not sure if he's watching, but if he sees the replay, he'd be loving that. Burroughs going over the top of Noble. It was lovely to watch.
Yeah, certainly turning back the clock with that name there, Costo. Yeah, Ryan's got a great deal of speed. So he got on his outside of his player very, very easy there. They're going to have to pay a lot of attention to him because he can come into that back line, create opportunities, and really put those outside guys away. But I feel so much for for Nick's team. They really put a lot of pressure on early, and just to go almost 80 meters to get a try up there. Yeah, it's a bit disheartening.
We might go downstairs to Dustin Zaire. D, it was, an ominous sign there for Team Burroughs, and I believe the shot at goal was good to go. 4-0 becoming 6-0, I dare say.
Yeah, actually, it was a little bit wide to the right there. So or wide to the left, excuse me. He kind of shanked it a little bit. So the score remains 4-0.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I couldn't pick up the shot from our position here, so thanks very much. Nearly 9.5 gone, just confirming the score, 4-0. The try unconverted. The try scored by Noble, but the architect was certainly Ryan Burroughs, 30-year-old custodian who picked his team in true American tradition via a draft. And for the international audience, Dustin Zaire, that is something that is expected, I dare say, in professional sport right across the continent of North America, and no different for rugby league coming into the Carolina Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to see both coaches get in a draft, have a good time about it, and they really enjoyed getting a chance to kind of pick some of the other person's club players with them. So Burroughs took one of Newlin's players, and I think Newlin took one of Burroughs' players. So a bit of fun in that draft as well.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of state of origin, mate against mate, state versus state. And there's plenty of mates up against one another here today on the basis of that draft leading into this match where we see Zulu Aga, the Zulu, what a nickname. And he is captured by Brock Davies, New Zealand-born, Australian-bred defender for Team Newlin, as we see Team Burroughs going up the middle and showing some adventure with the Steedham to keep the ball alive. And referee Shelton telling Newlin to get back on side as we see the red side going towards that sideline on the far side of the field. 11 gone, 4-0 is the score. This is the Carolina Cup under the auspices of the North American Rugby League. And now a tip over the top from Team Burroughs. And it's a bouncing ball back there in numbers, Team Newlin. Oh, hello, look out. There's a break. I think it's Jackson. Not that man again. Look at him go. Jackson, down the sideline. The cover defence getting across there. but only just. And all of a sudden, Team Burroughs, they are at 6s and 7s. Here's the winger for Team Newlin and Ryan Forston out of the South Florida Speed. I'd like to see him turn on the speed. He plays it back for Kavanagh, and they're lined out nice and deep. It comes to Don Paul Jr., and they promote the ball. No, they spill the ball, and there was something brewing there. Corroy, he coughs it up, and Garen Casey, that was a near thing for Team Burroughs after a terrific bust-up field, as we saw Jackson going downtown with a great sense of urgency.
Yeah, that old saying, turn defence into attack, and he put himself in the right position, made a good break there, and just unfortunately, again, they seem to be getting into that 20-yard area and just not being able to put points on the board. So hopefully it doesn't come back to hurt them.
Expert comments tonight in the Carolina Cup coming from Garen Casey. Australian accent, if you're wondering. I'm sure you guessed it straight away, and he's not alone. But we welcome everybody, no matter where you're watching in the Rugby League universe. Garen, of course, as we see a bus here from Team Burroughs, some paper-thin defence from Team Newlin, and they keep it going. And the Red Army on the march once more in front of our commentary position. Playing it back was Brunker, veteran prop forward, and now some backup as they get play to within 27 metres of the Team Newlin try line. The Reds looking to put the blowtorch on Team Newlin here. But Garen, of course, a former Parramatta player, Penrith player, Wakefield, Salford in the UK, and nowadays the coach of the American national women's team. We'll hear more from him about that later on in the broadcast tonight as we see a penalty here against Team Burroughs. And dear, oh dear, that is one hell of a stuff-up. They call it a shepherd, but the official call here or adjudication is obstruction. You can't run behind somebody without the ball. And Garen Casey, that broke down horribly for Team Burroughs.
Yeah, they could have gone even further ahead right there. That would have been a great opportunity just to put another nail in Nick's team. So it's just unfortunate where they can't come away with points. But we're finding on both sides to get into that second and third tackle. I'm really not having any direction. So hopefully they can sort that out.
I thought you were going to say another nail in the coffin. Early days. There's actually a player on Team Newlin's roster who's actually in the funeral industry. I'm looking forward to seeing Brandy check in for Team Newlin during this one as we see Team Newlin spreading the ball and spilling the ball, and their ball control is diabolical. And I think Dustin's there. Somebody in Team Newlin needs to go down to the local hardware store and buy some Tarzan's grip or Araldite because they just can't connect and catch the damn thing.
Yeah, Costa, it seems like they're just having a hard time, especially in that attacking half, to really just wrap their hands around the ball. For those Americans out here, we get some of that Gorilla Glue on their hands or some sticky tape. That's how we call it.
Great to have another commentator and also an interpreter. You get that as a bonus. Good on you, D. As we see Team Burroughs in possession here, about 7 metres short of halfway. But a warm welcome to everybody perhaps watching Rugby League for the very first time across, I dare say, the United States of America. And from Kannapolis, our pictures live out of North Carolina. This is the first ever Carolina Cup, and we've got Team Burroughs in red versus Team Newlin in white, and a juggle here from Team Burroughs, and it's the latter that leads the contest 4 points to nil. We're playing on the AstroTurf here in K-Town. Oh, my goodness. Good shot coming in there from Osborne from the New York Freedom. And, well, it was a fair shot. They got a kick away. It went straight through the hands of Eichner. And all of a sudden, they turn it over. Team Newlin's got possession, and away goes Kavanagh. Kavanagh, born in Toledo, Ohio, and he plays it back, and they work short side. This is Corroy. In the centre position, wearing jersey 4, far side of the field, John Paul Jr., part of the Atlanta Rhinos connection. And now they keep going that short side. This is the prop forward for Team Newlin. Offerdale, the man they call Captain America. You can't get enough of a nickname like that. And all of a sudden, the follow-up play with Forston, he's been injured. This is not looking good here for Ryan Forston. We might take the opportunity to go sideline with Dustin Zare once more, but it was building nicely for Team Newlin, and now a stoppage, D.
Yeah, Costa, it looks like maybe it might be just a little bit of a cramp. Some of these guys haven't had a chance to get too much playing time in this year with all the COVID restrictions, but looks to be just a little bit of cramp that they're stretching out right now. So we'll keep an eye on it and see if he comes back on.
Well, the pictures suggest you are on the money, D. And let's take a comment now from Garen Casey. And Garen, while we have a halt in play here, your position as the American National Women's Rugby League coach, I dare say, exciting times, not only for the North American Rugby League with the boys putting on a show, but with the girls putting their best step forward in the future, and some big plans for the women's program right across the United States and, for that matter, across North America.
Yeah, thanks, Costa. Yeah, with the women's, it's been a long time coming. There's a great deal of athletic talent over here, and what better game to actually showcase that than rugby league? So rugby union is a very well-followed sport over here, but in regards to what we can do with the women's, I think there's a lot of depth and a lot of ability there to even shake the main countries such as Australia, New Zealand, the UK. So only time will tell, but it's only early in the stages.
And I'm sure people in the big three, England, Australia, and New Zealand, are watching our broadcast with a degree of curiosity. This is the Kannapolis Memorial Stadium as the venue of the very first ever Carolina Cup under the banner of the North American Rugby League. Garen Casey is my co-commentator, the current coach of the Red Tails. And speaking of which, we'll hear from his newly appointed captain, Samantha Black-Keels, at half-time as we see the red team, that's Team Burroughs, turn it over. And now we've got Team Newlin in possession. And they have struggled to maintain possession during the game thus far as we come up towards the midway point of the opening stanza. We play 40-minute quarters or 40-minute halves, I beg your pardon, in rugby league as a rule. No quarters, as we see Team Newlin taking the line on through Mark Offerdale, born in Gundawindi in country Queensland, right on the border with New South Wales, and a man who's a man of the world in rugby league, and the only player on the field today who's featured in 2 Rugby League World Cups, and of course it was the US of A. Team Newlin in possession, going very close to the line. They need to hold up here. They need to hold out. They've done it. Wow, that was impressive. Getting back there in numbers was Team Burroughs, and Garen Casey, Newlin's team went very close to getting across the line to get on the board.
Well, they finally got inside that 5-yard area, right? So an opportunity gone missing, but they got a few tackles to go.
On the last, watch out for the kick. There it is, in behind the line. Team Burroughs have got it all under control. And we will come back now for the obligatory, or optional, if you like, 20-metre tap restart. And it's a 7-tackle restart. Shelton, the referee, says, go back, do it again, and here we go. 21 minutes gone in Kannapolis, North Carolina. And again, a big shout out to the city of Kannapolis and the local administration for working with our friends at the North American Rugby League and other stakeholders in showcasing rugby league football here tonight in the form of the very first ever Carolina Cup. Zuluaga plays it back, and this here is the standoff for Team Burroughs in the 6th jumper, Max Rism, the 23-year-old from Hull, playing it back, and Zuluaga, who saw action down under in bush football in Charters Towers in North Queensland, a gold mining city for 2 years. That's where he plied his trade in rugby league, working as a builder's labourer. And I'm sure he'll be labouring today for the red team, Team Burroughs, as we see a turnover and Team Burroughs failing to get to their kick, Aaron Casey. I don't think that's what they rehearsed at practice during the week.
Not the best way to finish your set. You certainly want to leave the ball in an area where the other team doesn't want it. And right there, that's not a good position.
My name's Jason Costigan. We're hearing expert analysis from Garen Casey, who played professionally in both hemispheres. Blaylock, part of that Atlanta Rhinos connection, out of dummy half. And he's into enemy territory. A slow play the ball. 22 and a half gone. The red team with the only try so far here in Kannapolis in the first ever Carolina Cup. Ball comes across to Lance Kavanagh, and he promotes the football. They're 30 metres away, Team Newlin. Here's the last. How good is their kick? And the kick, well, it's terrible, and that does break down horribly for Team Newlin. And I reckon Nick Newlin, their player coach, would like to have that all over again, Garen Casey. That was ugly.
Yeah, just one of those things where you certainly got to put the ball in the hands of the right people. And it's probably one of the reasons why coaches' nightmares are when you hand the ball to a forward on the last tackle. That's why all their kicking privileges are gone.
Yes, you don't see it too often. And when you do see it, you often see it poorly executed, and no better example than what we just saw. It's Team Burroughs in possession now on the back of all that. They lead the ball game 4-0. American Rugby League with a great history going back to the 1950s, if you're wondering. Back to 1953, when the American All-Stars went down under playing in Australia. It was a trailblazing tour. It's something that I wanted to touch on during commentary here tonight all those years ago, thanks to Mike Dimitro, who played pro football for the LA Rams after World War II, and he was the promoter. He brought the team down under, as we see Team Burroughs following in their footsteps alongside Team Newlin tonight, promoting rugby league football here across the North American continent. Here's the last, there's the kick. Not ideal from Max Rism, but it works out okay here for Team Newlin, and we've got a fumble at the back, and that will constitute a goal line restart in the form of a dropout. So some pressure coming up here on Team Newlin as Team Burroughs, Garen Casey, press for their second try of the match.
Yeah, it's certainly the result that you want if you're not able to get over the try line. So for those viewers at home, you get a repeat set of 6 here. Let's just see what they can do.
So more possession, more ammunition for Team Burroughs. And all of a sudden, I thought someone maybe in the broadcast might have hit the pause button, but no, my eyes were not deceiving me. I can hear the director laughing in the background as we see Team Burroughs keep plugging away. And I'll come back to more of that trailblazing American All-Star Tour of 1953 down under, as we see Zuluaga going straight up the middle, straight up Main Street, and there's a Zulu on the loose in K-Town. Someone may need to call the PD because Andrew Zuluaga has gone straight up the middle and he's stolen a try. I'm not sure if the cops can book him, but the points have been awarded in Kannapolis. And Team Burroughs with their second 4-pointer. Thanks to the Zulu, Aaron Casey. He just went straight through them like a bad curry.
Yeah, he gave that first marker a big don't argue. So Zulu is very much a cult figure down there in Tampa. Very, very big season this year, and deserves that try considering the season that those guys have had. So as you see, just nice little jink off the left, just got rid of the defenders and very easy, just goes over.
Lovely footwork from Andrew Zuluaga in the Carolina Cup, first ever, a night that he will remember, a night that he will cherish. 22 and a half gone, 8-0 the score. Let's take a comment from Dustin Zare.
Yeah, Costa, I think that it's been pretty great performance so far from Team Burroughs. They seem to be really attacking well on that front foot. Team Newlin's a couple missed tackles here and there, and they just can't seem to capitalize, really on the inside that 22 or inside the 20. That attacking 20 is going to be hard for them. Kick coming here. And kick is good.
So up go the flags. 2 points in a goal, whether it's a penalty goal or a conversion. And a conversion, if you're new to rugby league, follows a try, which many of our audience will know as a touchdown. In rugby league, we call it a try. It's worth 4 points, 2 points for the goal, which is effectively the bonus, if you like. And it's always taken adjacent to where the try was scored. So the try has been converted, and it's a double-digit lead after 23 and a half minutes of play. Team Burroughs leading Team Newlin 10 points to nil. Garen Casey.
Yeah, it's one of those games so far where it really looks like that Ryan's team's just taken their opportunities. Every time they get down there in the 20, they're putting points on the board. Unfortunately for Nick's team, they just look like they're losing a little bit of direction as they get into that 20 area. So they really need to sort that out. Probably a little bit more dominant action from our halves.
Into the next passage of play we go with another restart for Team Newlin. So it's a 2-score game here in Kannapolis. And the Reds looking all the rage at this stage in the second part of the first stanza. Just going back to 1953 and that American All-Star Tour, it was trailblazing stuff. Many of those players were college footballers. There was one Rhodes Scholar and there was one former Helsinki Olympian. It was a real eclectic mix of athletes playing down under. As we see Ryan Burroughs' team going straight up the middle, keeping the football alive. Speak of the devil, he plays it back. And the red team is on the march once more. And look at them go. Every time they seem to take them on up the middle, they make meters. And Rism in the 6-jumper in the headgear, he's directing play nicely at standoff. Here they go once more. Burroughs, Rism takes them on, posing a question or two, inside ball, and luckily for Team Newlin, there's an intercept. But again, it was building nicely for the Red Army, and Garen Casey unlucky not to get their third try of the contest.
Yeah, good scramble there from Paul Jr. Got himself between the player and the ball and just shut that down. So, and unfortunately, they've got to put up with another set of 6 here. Let's just see if they can hang on.
More pressure building here on Team Newlin. The restart, some depth about it, but more defensive work coming up for Team Newlin. And look at this. This is looking rather serious for Team Newlin. You get the impression that Ryan Burroughs and his red men are about to pounce once more. We'll stick with the action for now, and I'll come back to that trailblazing 53 team of the American All-Stars. Burroughs at first receiver. Now a lovely cutout ball over the top. Can they keep it going? Not on this occasion. The defence holds for Team Newlin. Rism at dummy half, directing play like a traffic cop. That was an awkward tackle. Now a bit of a push and shove. A bit of argy-bargy in K-Town. And I think it's Jackson there, Garen Casey. He might need a tablet. He didn't like it, but the penalty goes to Team Burroughs.
He's trying to get a bit of fire in the belly, so hopefully that resonates with his other players, because it really looks like there's just a lot of yards being made by Ryan's team right now. So let's just hope they were able to really get themselves in line.
27 and a half gone, and Team Newlin on their own goal line. A lovely night in the fall of 2021. And just repeating, if you joined us late, the two teams here players from all walks of life, different backgrounds. And it's Team Burroughs looking for a barge over from play one here. They've gone close. And what's he ruled? The referee in Shelton says, come back and play the football. Well, talk about looking for a chink in the armour. They went perilously close once more. 12 out from Oranges. And Ryan Burroughs in his red men, they continue to dominate here in Kannapolis, North Carolina. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast, the telecast, wherever you may be watching around the rugby league universe. Rhythm promotes the football. Oh, it breaks down after so much possession and pressure. And luckily for Team Newlin, they breathe a huge sigh of relief, Garen Casey. On the bench, I'm sure they'd be sucking in the big one, saying, our prayers are answered. Still a 10-point spread.
Yeah, it was that same guy again, John Paul Jr. Good defensive read, got up and shut Ryan down. Wasn't able to get the ball out. So great defensive effort there.
So Team Newlin surely will treasure possession here. It comes across to Koroi. And now out of dummy half goes Lance Kavanagh. And the 34-year-old. Slow play the ball below our camera position. Jackson's got it. Seems to have calmed down. Oh, look at this. He busts them open and a try saver there made at the back by Ryan Burroughs, I dare say. They keep it going. Fontana. And he is shut down. The number 9 is repelled, and it was the last. He obviously didn't realise, didn't hear the call. You can't blame the crowd. I know we had 30,000 in Moscow watching the USA taking on Russia nearly 20 years ago. It's not quite 30,000 tonight in K-Town. And if he couldn't hear the referee's call, Garen Casey, he needs to go and get the wax removed tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm actually more impressed with Koopy Jackson right now. He's resonating from the old Reg Reagan days of getting himself out of trouble and inspiring other people. So there's got to be a few other players that really get on his back, and because he looks like the most damaging for Nick's team right now.
Ooh, good hit.
So it's Team Burroughs in possession and some backslamming defence here from Team Newlin, and that was heavy contact on the AstroTurf and a knock on. So put that down to some big defensive play there. And I think it was John Paul Jr. as we go to Dustin Zaire D. That was some hit.
Yeah, John Paul Jr.'s, we've seen it the past probably 10 minutes or so. He's had 3 or 4 big hits. He had the interception. He and Koopy Jackson right now are kind of really driving the game forward for Team Newlin. They seem to be the ones that are making the biggest impact.
Comments from our American colleague, Dustin Zaire. D keeping us informed as to what's happening with some of his fellow countrymen who come from all sorts of backgrounds for this, the inaugural Carolina Cup. Team Newlin, 10 points in arrears, 31 and a half gone. Let's see what they can offer here in attack. Blaylock, they keep it going. It looks promising here.
Good run.
Team Newlin. And we've got a halt with an injury to Zach Blaylock. Part of that, as I say, the strong Atlanta flavour to this match. As we have a comment from Garen Casey, who's joined us for the commentary of this important night on the Rugby League calendar as we look ahead to 2022 and the launch of the North American Rugby League.
Yeah, just a little looks like he's done something to his ribs. And Justin Branker coming over the top of him certainly doesn't help with that pressure. So, yeah, good to see Zach putting himself into the game.
We're just watching some replays here. The opening try in the 8th minute, it was pretty to watch. It was pretty to call. It was pretty damn good. Noble was the try scorer, but the engineer was his captain in Ryan Burroughs. And I reckon on replay, in the years to come, Dustin's there. Ryan Burroughs will show his friends, hey, look what I did. But the same can be said of Andrew Zuluaga, who went straight up Main Street on 26. And what about the try celebration, Garen Casey? I know you remember some very good ones down under in the NRL in those golden years when that sort of stuff was tolerated. But Zuluaga, he just went through them there. I think I called it like a bad curry. When I lived in the North, I never had a bad curry, but I'm not speaking from experience, but I suspect the defence there from Team Newlin, more holes than a tea strainer. They're lucky they're trailing only 10-0 as we get back underway after that stoppage. And now we come to Kavanagh. We trust you're enjoying the coverage and being entertained, whether it's on the field or perhaps in the commentary box. Great to have you with us right around the Rugby League universe. And you're from close range here, Team Newlin, looking for their first points of the match. And again, they just can't work it out. On the last, they die with the football. And Garen Casey, all jokes aside, that is a cardinal sin.
Yeah, they're just not learning from their own mistakes right now. Someone's really got to take control in the halves. They've really got to get some repeat sets. I'll really get across this try line because I'm fearful that if Burroughs goes in again before half time, it's really going to open up for him.
It's only a matter of time. And just going back to 1953, it is a great story with the American All-Stars going down under, playing all over the countryside in Australia. And they pulled some big crowds. Memory serves me right, checking the record, 60,000 people in Sydney watching the American All-Stars play on that tour in 1953. And one of their players later, in the form of Al Kirkland, coming back to play for the Parramatta Eels, the same club that my co-commentator Garen Casey played for. And I dare say, Garen Casey, you're a much better player back in the day than a historian, but that is a great connection from the past to the present with Al Kirkland from that 53 American All-Star team going down under, then one day playing for Parramatta, in fact, 3 years later in 56.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that there's not a lot of other American players that have actually gone down and played in the NRL and ARL down there during the late 80s, 90s. But there's a lot of talent over here. And as the game continues to develop and grow, we really hope that those pathways can get open up and do some combines over here because there is some great talent. I mean, some great talent on show here today. So, Ryan Burroughs, for example, has had some experience down there with Wentworthville, and obviously Mark Offerdale down there out of Queensland. So, there's a lot of opportunity for US players to get down there, but they just got to get recognised and put themselves out there.
Well, it's a good point you make, and just on as a matter of record, Kirkland wasn't the only one. And it was before my time, but back in the late 1970s, Manfred Moore, who American football fans may recall, out of the Oakland Raiders, won a Super Bowl with them, if memory serves me right. He played for the famous Newtown Jets. They don't play in the professional arena like the Parramatta Eels or the Brisbane Broncos or the North Queensland Cowboys or the Melbourne Storm. The Newtown Jets was his home. Manfred Moore, Super Bowl winner with Oakland Raiders from many years ago, seeing action at Henson Park with the Newtown Jets in the late 1970s. So there has been a trickle, if nothing else, over the course of time as we see Team Newlin looking to create something with Brock Davies, New Zealand-born, Australian-bred. Here they go in the run-up to half-time, 3 minutes out from Oranges, and it's Team Newlin looking for their first points of the contest. It comes across to Koroi. He keeps it going, and it breaks down once more. I feel like a broken record, Garen Casey. That guerrilla stuff that Dee was talking about, I'm not sure who's going to offer, but someone needs to go down to the Newlin bench and suggest they get a taxi and hail a cab and get down to that hardware store because the fumbles just keep on coming for Team Newlin and they continue to haunt them. 10 plays 0 in the run up to the break.
Yeah, ball control is certainly not something that they're taking a lot of pride in right now. So let's just hope that they sort that out, because again, I'm very, very fearful that put some more points on before the halftime break, and this thing is going to open up in the second half if they don't really get their finger out.
So the scrum forming here, about 25 out from the red try line. That's Team Burroughs. 10-0 the score. Try to Noble, tried to Duluaga. And now some fancy play right in front of our camera position here in Kannapolis, North Carolina. All of a sudden, you see the Red Army again on the march and right below the camera position. And the ball's come loose. In fact, they've gone over the sideline. Well, you need to treat the sideline like a precipice. And Dustin Zare, somebody needs a compass. And it's not Captain Cook.
Yeah, Costa, I think, you got to be, the lines are a little bit maybe harder for them to see down there. That was DeMonte Noble again going off, getting tackled out on the sideline. Bit of bad news for Team Newlin, as well, as it looks like Zach Blaylock will not be returning. He landed awkwardly on his ribs. He's coming off. We'll keep you updated. It doesn't look like he's going to return this match, though.
Thanks very much, D, as we see Team Newlin. And again, just as D comes back to me, guess what happened? Talk about a case of the fumbles. They got hands like shifting spanners. And while Garen Casey composes himself with my unorthodox humour in the commentary box, and I'm sure plenty of tradesmen and women, girls on the tools as well as the boys, appreciate such humour. Greg Smith's another one, Garen Casey. He played for the Newcastle Knights from memory under the great lock, Warren Ryan, out of Louisiana. It was a very short career. We'll come back to that and look at this. It's the red team on the march. And a flying winger in Genesis Lussus is away, and a little bit of showtime as well. And Lussus, well, that was delicious. 14-0 in the shadows of half-time. And Ryan Burroughs and the Red Army, they must be cock-a-hoop. Whoopee.
Any speed there, yeah. Like he really accelerated nicely. But I tell you what, as a former goal kicker, I'll be walking over to him and go, if you do not put that ball down under the post again, I'm going to blow up. So you just take a look as good acceleration here, beats the cover defence. Koopy tries to get across, but as we come across and getting over the line, he's just looking and taunting a little bit. Put it down, son. Put it down.
Well, he's overshot the runway. I hope he doesn't fancy himself in a new career on the USS Ronald Reagan. I actually was struggling with my bearings as well, watching it, calling it. I'm thinking, where's he going? He's turning into Forrest Gump.
I thought he was going to run out of the stadium as well.
Genesis Lussus, the 22-year-old, a rugby convert with the Hartford Harpoons. And his favourite sporting player of all time, his hero, Kobe Bryant. And I might go to Dustin Zare there. That is some idol for our latest try scorer, Genesis Lussus, who makes it 14-0, and the kick is successful at 16-0.
Yeah, exactly. You think through all the different sports that we have here in the U.S., it's a big thing for him. Kobe Bryant, what's somebody to look up to. He had some wheels, Kobe Bryant did, just like Lussus had right there. He definitely took off on that nice pass from DeMonte Noble.
Comments from Dustin Zare. Garen Casey is also with us here from Kannapolis, North Carolina, and so too is the fire department. And it's the red team that are running hot. We may need those firefighters in the second stanza. We shall take a break, and when we come back to halftime or the first half highlights, it's Team Burroughs leading 16-0. Stay with us.
Tonight's special broadcast of the Carolina Cup is brought to you by Agave Marketing Solutions, the City of Kannapolis, the Hilton at the Newark Airport, and the NARL, North America's premier rugby league, kicking off its inaugural season in 2022. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping support the growth of rugby league in America.
Welcome back to Kannapolis here, city of Kannapolis, and the Veterans Stadium here in K-Town in North Carolina. Scene of the battle tonight for the very first ever Carolina Cup under the auspices of North American Rugby League. We'll hear more about the NARL in 2022. But for now, in this exhibition match with some silverware on the line, it's Team Burroughs in the box seat leading 16-0. Plenty of highlights for the Red Army. Ryan Burroughs, he's been in the thick of it. Here he is setting up the first try of the match on 8 minutes. Darren Casey, this was pretty to watch.
Yeah, pretty standard play there from Ryan. Just get on the outside, showing a bit of speed, and then just delivering a pretty nice pass there to his support play and for the first points of the game.
Expert comments from the former professional player Darren Casey in both the Northern and the Southern Hemisphere. And this is the man they call the Zulu. Andrew Zuluaga going straight up the guts, opened them up, and didn't he love the try? Big celebration, a big body, and some lazy defence here at the teeth of the defence. The middles for Team Newlin, Darren Casey, found wanting.
Yeah, nice flat pass from dummy half, good change of direction, and then a bit of acceleration got him over the line for that second try.
Yes, good stuff it was from the Colombian international. And what about this speed merchant out wide? Genesis Lussus. He's got wheels. Forget about your local motor vehicle dealership. He's got them all covered. He just put on the afterburners and he just burnt them. And the cover defence coming across, Darren Casey couldn't get there. My only concern was he nearly overshot the runway. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, certainly one of the things that I'd be speaking to him if I was the goal kicker. But yeah, when you've got speed like that on the wings, you got to get the ball early to them, and he did a great job there.
We have halftime here in the Carolina Cup. It's Team Burroughs with a 16-point buffer. Some problems here for the standoff for Team Newlin. That's Lance Kavanagh. That's not a pretty look on the broad of his back, getting some attention. We'll find out more, no doubt, in the second half. Don't touch that dial. We will take a break. And when we come back, we will have the second stanza, and we'll catch up with the American National Women's Rugby League captain, Samantha Black-Keels. She's been newly appointed. She joins Darren Casey and myself on the other side of this. Welcome back to Kannapolis, North Carolina. I'm Jason Costigan. You have been watching the inaugural Carolina Cup thanks to the North American Rugby League. We trust you've enjoyed the telecast thus far. 40 minutes in the can, 40 to come. And it's the team at the right of your picture with a big job in front of them as we get set for the second stanza. That's Team Newlin. They trail this ball game. It's the Red Army, if you like, Team Burroughs, who lead 16 points to nil here at the Memorial Stadium. A great tribute it was when it was opened in 1958 in memory of those who served the nation. Let's catch up now with the United States national women's captain. Her name is Samantha Black-Keels. She's been given the job of captaining the Red Tails thanks to Garen Casey. Sam, what was your reaction when you got the job?
Wow, it's really indescribable, honestly. When Garen told me that I'd be the skipper, I was just really excited to be on the team in general. And then when he said, well, there's more, you're the skipper, it just blew my mind. And I just really want to do a good job for him and all the girls I'm going to war with.
Well, you mentioned the war, but it starts with the battle because, of course, your rivals, Canada, have got the jump on you. The Red Tails with a big job in front of you as we see an ambulance turn up here at the stadium to pick up the injured Lance Kavanagh for Team Newlin, and we wish him well, given that is not a good look for him or his team. But the Red Tails, you've got some great people around you, even though you are the captain. People like Brianna Carlson comes to mind as part of the leadership group. I'm sure she's not alone. I'm sure you've got some good people to lean on as the captain of the USA.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of credit goes to Brianna. She's always active in the chats and getting people involved and spreading the word. But I have my partner down in Tampa, Robin Oliveri. She's been at my side, getting all the Tampa girls out and being just really active for the national team as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we wait a couple minutes to get started again.
Now, I've got to ask you about the situation with Canada. The game that has been penciled in, and we're speaking with Samantha Black-Keels, the US Women's Rugby League captain in charge of the Red Tails. What's the latest there because of COVID-19? Has that game been called off or postponed? What's the latest, Sam?
Well, the word we had last is that it's likely postponed till next year, which was hard for us to hear, but you know, it just gives us more time to prepare, work together as a team, because we all just got selected not too long ago, and now we have camps planned, and we're going to be really ready to go.
Well, that's very good to hear. I'm sure I speak for a lot of people who are experiencing rugby league for the first time tonight. We wish you well with those endeavours. Can I ask, what's the reaction from the public when they find out that women are playing rugby league? No pads, no helmets. What's the reaction out there from the fans?
Well, actually, on my trip here, a lady at the airport is like, women play rugby? And I was like, yeah, you know, we're playing today. It's a lot of fun. And she's like, well, that seems really like relentless. And we saw it in Scotland one time. And I guess you got to be really strong. And I tried to tell her, I was like, well, rugby league is really inclusive. There's a spot for everybody. You don't have to be like this huge, like broody person. You can, there's a place for everyone.
Good stuff, Samantha. And can I ask you also, as we see someone come through and think we're on radio, not sure what he was thinking, give him our regards. But can I ask, what's Garen Casey like as a head coach? How does he engage the girls? What's he like? What's he like as your boss?
Garen has a presence. So when he's around, you just really want to do well. There's a lot of respect there. We know his background, and you can tell exactly how he feels about how we're playing just by looking at him, and he doesn't have to say much. But he is a great coach so far. He's been making tons of opportunities for girls across the country to get involved in league, and I support him. I back him 100%.
All right, Samantha, we might leave it there because second half action, as you can see, is back underway. The opening 60 seconds, Team Burroughs leading 16-0. And we wish you well. Samantha Black-Keels, the USA Women's Rugby League captain of the Red Tails. Thanks for joining us, Sam. We wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
There she is, a great face of Women's Rugby League across not only the US of A, but I dare say the international game. We wish Samantha and her teammates, the Red Tails, all the very best as we see the Team Newlin with their very elusive Coopity Jackson trying to make some inroads and eat into this 16-point deficit. But Garen Casey, great to hear from your captain. And she's obviously a bubbly lady who obviously loves her rugby league. And I dare say she is just champing at the bit to lead her country, notwithstanding this unpredictable world. As we see a penalty here to Team Newlin, given by the referee Adam Shelton, given the unpredictability because of COVID-19, Garen. It's a big question mark, but she's getting on with the job as your national captain.
Yeah, she's great. Like her, along with all the other players, are just really enthusiastic and really want to get in there and like take that first step in international rugby league, because, you know, for so long, you know, the men have been a part of the international game and, you know, played World Cups, and this is the first opportunity for the women to do it. And we're really looking forward to putting like a good show on for not only the American people, but also across the world.
We see a carry upfield here and going towards the goal line, not too far away for Team Newlin, Brock Davies, but he's been held up, has he? I think he's been held up. We might just take a quick comment from our American man in the commentary team tonight, Dustin Zaire. That was a near thing, D, and luckily for Team Burroughs, they were able to repel Team Newlin. Only just.
Absolutely, just barely. They held Brock Davies up just real quick right there as Koopy Jackson breaks through.
Look at him go. Jackson goes through, and they just went to sleep, almost as if he had spiders on his back. Koopy Jackson helps himself, and all of a sudden it's game on in Kannapolis. Boy, oh boy, did we need that or what? Team Newlin's on the board, and Jackson gets the job done.
Well, it's really interesting there. Just really easy try. Like there was not much to do there. He just simply just walked through just a massive hole. So I'd be looking at myself defensively and thinking, oh, have I fallen asleep after halftime? Because this is a great opportunity for Nick's team to get back into this match.
Fall asleep. Someone needs to give the team in red some no-dos. That is a danger sign here in Kannapolis. 3 and a bit gone in the second stanza. The shot at goal from Fotukava Malu. Born in American Samoa. Big shout out to those people in the Pacific who are watching this broadcast. Pango Pango in the capital, or anywhere else in the South Pacific. Great to have your company. 27-year-old converting the try. Played in the Rugby League World Cup, in fact, did Malu in Townsville in North Queensland, the last Rugby League World Cup. Made his debut against Italy, an Italian side that had James Tedesco lining up. We're back underway here in Kannapolis. And for those people new to Rugby League, Tedesco, one of the pin-up boys, Garen Casey of the NRL, and had a stellar season with the Sydney Roosters. And, of course, a mainstay for Australia and, of course, his state team, New South Wales, your home state, but once upon a time lining up for the Italian team in that World Cup of 2017, which included the likes of Fotukava Malu, who's playing for Team Newlin, converting that try, that much-needed try, scored by Jackson to make it 16-6, 5 gone, second stanza.
Yeah, you see a lot of different players come over to the United States to get different opportunities. And like Malu is just one of those guys who he's been over here for a while now, and he's been performing at a very high level for a long period of time. So let's just hope he can inspire the other players to get back into this game.
Now we see a kick on the last, hence the referee's arm is extended. And now is an opportunity for Team Newlin. It's still the last. Can they get another kick away? Can they slip the Steeden out the back door? No. They are repelled. Desperate defence from Team Burroughs with a 10-point buffer, 6 gone second half action in the first ever Carolina Cup. And just for a split second, I thought there, Dustin Zaire, there was an opportunity to narrow that margin, but it wasn't to be. And so it's a 2-score game here in K-Town.
Yeah, Costo, it looked like, they may have not known it was on the last, happened in the first half with them as well. So it seemed as though they were, really trying to make that last attack work. But unfortunately, lost track of count again.
Yes, it's important to be aware of where you are in the tackle count. If you're new to rugby league, there are 6 plays on every set of possession, if you like. So we see Team Burroughs bringing play away up towards halfway, and Ryan Burroughs, if you stop the clock now, if you're looking for a man of the match, the man that played the ball there just a second or two ago, as they go downtown with the kick, it's Ryan Burroughs standing out like a beacon and leading the charge of his team in red, and reminding everybody that the team that he picked, basically in the American tradition, based on a draft that was live streamed right around the rugby league universe. And hence we've got players tonight from different ethnic backgrounds, different walks of life, different skill sets, and coming together as we see a knock on, dear, oh dear, Team Newlin. Well, they just can't take a trick, Aaron Casey, just turning over possession and putting pressure on themselves and, well, digging their own grave. I know they've got someone in the funeral industry. We haven't seen him too much tonight in Kyle Granby, but that's just ridiculous, not respecting the football.
Yeah, we saw so many times in the first half, they got themselves into a decent position and then they just turned it over by drop balls and different mistakes like that. And these mistakes coming out of your own territory, they just don't help because they just put Ryan Burroughs' team straight back onto the offensive.
Let's see what they've got here. And I'm going to come back to you in a moment, Darren, to take us through some big news at halftime here in Kannapolis, North Carolina, as the North American Rugby League ramps it up in readiness for a launch in 2022. They work the short side now. Team Burroughs on the attack. Danger signs here for Team Newlin on their own goal line or thereabouts. And it's the Red Army on the march here in Kannapolis under the floodlights on this beautiful night in the fall of 2021. And now taking them on, sucking them in like a Hoover. I think it might have been the veteran front row forward there for Team Burroughs and Bunker. He plays it back 5 metres out from the goal line. And Burroughs goes to the short side and they get another try. This time it's Sterling Wynn. Well, that was just magical play. Great vision from Burroughs. He doesn't have to go into Specsavers. He's seeing the football like a watermelon and he sets it up out wide for Wynn and they kick clear here in K-Town.
Yeah, pretty good vision there by Ryan. He just went to the line, and on the other side of this, you've got to be able to actually hit the hole. So Sterling did a great effort to finish that. They still had another person outside as well. So relatively easy try, but again, Ryan's team's putting more gap between them.
The latest try scorer for Team Burroughs, the centre, Sterling Wynn, out of the Cleveland Rugby League. And an interesting character, he actually played rugby league in New South Wales, down under, for the Narooma Devils in Group 16 on the south coast of New South Wales, a pretty part of the world, it must be said. And a big shout out to those people who are taking in the telecast down under. Rugby league, a massive spectator sport in that part of the world. And the kick at goal is on the money, I do believe. We might just go to Dustin Zare there because it's ticked over to 22-6 with less than half an hour to go.
Yep, conversion was good there, Costa. Also a bit of update, as we saw at halftime, Lance Kavanaugh was being attended to. They did take him to hospital. Looked to be like HIA, so he will be out the rest of the match under concussion protocol. Just leaving 2 healthy players on the bench for second half for Team Newlin, dealing with pre-match injuries and then also the in-game injuries that Team Newlin has had.
Certainly, they are staring down the barrel. Thank you for that, Dustin. That's Dustin Zare, who's been keeping us abreast of what's happening with the benches. Back underway, the restart from the midway stripe here at the Memorial Stadium in Kannapolis. And again, a big shout out to the city of Kannapolis who've worked in partnership with North American Rugby League to put this game on here in North Carolina. A great showcase for rugby league. Team Burroughs leading the ball game 22 points to 6, and an opportunity to come back to Garen Casey. And Garen, exciting times. The fans here that have come through the turnstiles tonight being told at halftime some big news as we see Andrew Zuluaga go up towards halfway for Ryan Burroughs and his team. But great news for rugby league here in the Carolinas.
Yeah, Costo, some important news that's happened in the last two weeks. We've gone further on in development of actually bringing a couple of franchises into the Carolinas area, and they looked at Kannapolis as being the location for rugby league in this region. One of the reasons being there's a lot of development happening down here in the West Ave district. Kannapolis has got its own baseball team. There's a lot of things that are actually happening, and the city's growing massively. So what better place to have things happen is bring two franchises into Kannapolis, and we're fortunate to have both the Carolina Lightning and the Carolina Thunder, both men's and women's, playing beginning 2022.
Oh, that's exciting news. Congratulations to all involved as we see Team Burroughs going forward. But just repeating the news, a men's and women's franchise, two standalone teams, if you like, to represent the Carolinas going forward in season 2022 as we see the backline move here with Rism shoveling the ball out wide here for Team Burroughs, but it breaks down. And that is a fortuitous thing for Team Newlin and their captain, Nick Newlin, part of that World Cup connection. Just repeating, we've got 5 players involved in this game tonight as we see a scrum forming here as signalled by referee Adam Shelton, the Australian born and bred but American based. In fact, now a US citizen from 6 months ago or thereabouts. So congratulations to Adam Shelton out of Mergen in country Queensland. Nowadays, a US citizen is our referee for tonight's Carolina Cup. 53 and a half gone, 22-6 is the scoreline. I'm Jason Costigan in commentary tonight for what is an important step forward for the North American Rugby League. And of course, with COVID-19, the postponed launch of that new odyssey, that new adventure that now awaits in season 2022. And the big news, of course, here in Kannapolis a few minutes ago, with men's and women's franchises to line up to represent this part of the world next year. It's Team Newlin here looking to claw their way back into the contest. And as Dustin Zare pointed out, they are running skinny, but they're running onto the ball and they need more of this, making some inroads, eating up the meters, eating up the yards, depending on what part of the world you're watching the telecast. And now darting away from dummy half is the Knight Rider, Stephen Knight. And there's the kick. It's the last, and it goes out wide. They've still got it here. Team Newlin, beware of the second kick. Well, that is an anti-climax changeover, as you can see on our graphic. They have to surrender possession, and that's just dumb football. They need points. They're chasing points, and they've come up with a big, fat 0. Garen Casey, Nick Newlin, they'll be pulling his hair out.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest frustrations now is that your playmaker in Lance Kavanagh has left the field. So your last tackle option in your direction going into that opposing team's 30-meter area, you've basically got 0 options now. So a lot of people that aren't used to doing that type of role, they're going to find themselves with the ball. So it's just unfortunate for that to happen with such an injury to Lance.
And we'll keep you posted on developments with those injuries. I'm sure Dustin Zare is right across it. He's all over it like a cheap suit as we see Team Burroughs get play up towards halfway. And just repeating the 5 players, if you're wondering, involved with the USA in previous World Cups, Burroughs and Eichner for Team Burroughs. And then for Newlin's team, the captain himself, plus Malu and Offerdale, Captain America, of course, playing in 2 World Cups. As we see Team Burroughs go on the march here, and this is Capril. He looks a danger man. He's a live wire. He plays it back, and here they go, the Red Army on the march in K-Town. And then all of a sudden, it's battle stations here for Team Newlin. 56 gone. The red team on the attack, looking for more points. I suspect showing no mercy here. Here's the last. The referee has the arm extended. They go from dummy half. They claim the try. What's he ruled here? Just short. Well, I might need to go to the chemist to get a tablet. That was close. Real close.
Yeah, one of those last tackle options that you probably want back. You want to try and get a repeat set there, put the ball in the in goal, and try and get a drop out. But one last thing that my coach always said to me: always leave the ball in a position where they don't want it, bring it out from. So half a meter out from your own line, that's another good option.
Expert comments from the United States national women's coach, former professional player in both hemispheres, Garen Casey, formerly out of the Parramatta Eels, the Penrith Panthers, Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, and Salford. Those last two, of course, in the north of England, as we see Team Newlin now thundering upfield. And a nice ball out the back door from Brock Davies, but they can't capitalise on it. Right in front of our camera position, 57 and a bit gone here in Kannapolis. Now with a sortie out of dummy half, it's Ryan Forston from the South Florida Speed. And I think I said it in commentary in the first half. I'd like to see some open pasture with him getting the ball. We might see some speed. But now all we see is a knock on. And Dustin's there. Again, another anticlimax. And because it was the last, it's a turnover. Team Red get the pill.
So it seems like it's the same thing over and over again, much like a broken record. Total up looks to be about 10 to 11 knock-ons by Team Newlin tonight, and that's going to really ruin your attacking game there for sure.
So Team Burroughs with a 16-point buffer. I did say in commentary, I actually went down memory lane looking at some of those blasts from the past, those trailblazing Americans who played down under, starting with Al Kirkland, who toured in 53 with that American All-Star team, who later played at Parramatta in 56. And then, of course, in the late 1970s, Manfred Moore, Oakland Raiders Super Bowl winner, playing for the Newtown Jets. There was one more, and Greg Smith, who came down under, one game wonder for the Newcastle Knights. As we see a mistake here from Team Burroughs, playing alongside the great Andrew Johns, one of the greatest rugby league players ever to lace up a boot. In fact, I suspect, Garen Casey, that'll bring back a lot of memories. I actually was at that game when Greg Smith, the American, came down under and played for Warren Ryan, the man they called the Wok for Newcastle, when Newcastle were down on troops against Canterbury. I was actually at the Canterbury Bulldogs working as the media manager, and Smith, poor thing, he got found out badly in that particular game. He never played again, but to play in a team alongside the great Andrew Johns, if we were playing the Martians, he's the first player you pick to represent planet Earth.
Yeah, he certainly was one of those players. I was fortunate enough myself to play both against and with Andrew. And yeah, he's just one of those guys that it didn't matter what part of the field you're in, what time of the game you're in. He was always going 110 miles an hour.
So Andrew Johns, a rugby league immortal nowadays, and just the connection there with the American game. Greg Smith was his name. He only played one game of Premiership Rugby League, professional rugby league down under, and it was with the Newcastle Knights. But, of course, the American All-Stars, after that tour of 53 going down under, as we see a scrum getting ready to form here in Kannapolis, so we come up to 1 hour at 22-6 to Team Burroughs. The Americans actually went to Paris in early 54, and despite freezing conditions, they pulled 20,000 in the French capital, taking on France, led by the great Pierre, the greatest Frenchman ever to play rugby league. And, of course, the first ever Rugby League World Cup was, in fact, in 54. And, unfortunately, the Americans weren't invited to participate because the French went through them in what was a demolition job. But it was a big night in Paris with those American All-Stars coming across the Atlantic before the game went into hibernation. But this game, of course, part of that resurrection of rugby league, and it's Team Burroughs on the attack, the resurrection of rugby league in North America. And as we go into the final quarter, we've got a penalty here to Ryan Burroughs and the Red Army. And look at this, it's a quick tap and go. They weren't having a conference. If you want a conference, you can go to Choggum or to the G8 or something like that. But there was no deliberation there, Garen Casey. Their intent was pretty crystal clear. They are hungry for points. They really want to go for the jugular here in Kannapolis at 22-6.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan's got a bit of bit of attitude about him now. He just wants to up-tempo everything and really get this game going. I think they look at a bit of an opportunity with the depleted bench that's happening with Nick's team and can really probably run them around a little bit now.
We might, as we see Team Newlin bring it away from the base of the scrum, we might get Dustin Zare onto the case, because I keep rambling on about this Kyle Granby in 16th for Team Newlin. Works in the funeral industry. I've called rugby league players from all sorts of different backgrounds over the years, but I've never had someone who's in that sort of caper. So maybe, Dee, you can keep tabs on that. I'll just stick with the action for the moment, because it's brewing here and building for Team Burroughs, and they look menacing once more. And all of a sudden, you get the impression they're building for another try, and having a crack now is the number 6, Max Rism, the Englishman out of Hull, the 23-year-old. And now from dummy half, from close range, they get another try just like that. And it's Captain Courageous, Ryan Burroughs, who's been by far the standout performer here tonight, making some sort of a statement. And he grabs 4 more points for the team in red.
Yeah, just one of those easy tries. And unfortunate too, as we see, Nick Newlin has just gone down there with cramp, not being able to take his position as second marker or as that A defender on the line. And Ryan just had a clear path through to make an easy try.
Against a retreating defensive line too, Dustin Zare, they were backpedaling, and it was just a matter of time before they cracked.
Yeah, definitely, Costa. Like, I think the attacking prowess of Team Burroughs is definitely on full display. You talked about it just a minute ago when they were looking or short deliberation on whether or not they were going to kick or not. And if anybody tuned in tonight to look at a goal kicking expertise of Team Burroughs or any team, you're not going to get it. They're going for tries. That's what everybody's looking for, is a high scoring game. And right now we're looking at it at 26-6 with this kick to come.
A blowout. And I'm pleased to see the fire department still in the house, because Team Red, they are running hot, and those firefighters may well come in handy in the dying stages of this contest. They're not hot, they are smoking. 16 to play. And another opportunity for Team Newlin to think things over in the in goal with a shot at goal.
Costa, just a bit of an update here for you. You've been looking for Kyle Granby. He's been off and on the pitch. Apparently, we've had a jersey swap every now and then. One was a little bit too large for Kyle. So I'm trying to figure out what jersey he's in right now, and I'll get back to you on that one.
Commentator's nightmare. And I'm sure we'll hear more about that post-match. Makes things awfully difficult. Now, our appreciation of our international audience who are probably watching on with some degree of curiosity. And that shot at goal was successful, I believe, D, and it now ticks over to 28-6 with 15 to play.
That's correct. Max Rism having a great game as well, given a little bit of the kicking duties here in the second half. So he's 2 for 2 so far.
Thank you, D. That's Dustin Zare keeping us abreast of what's been happening here tonight and providing a great American perspective on what is a great night for American Rugby League. In fact, North American Rugby League. And, of course, it is the NARL in the countdown to that new adventure, that new competition that starts in 2022, postponed, of course, because of COVID. Fotakava Malu, waiting for the ball, waiting for the Steeden. Interesting character. I mentioned before a little bit about him with those American Samoan bloodlines. He actually was in a movie as an extra a couple of years ago. And Dustin, I'm not sure about you. You're probably the closest of us three to having contacts in Tinseltown. I'm not sure if you saw the movie. I don't get a chance to see too many movies. My first was Superman, and that was some time ago. I've seen some since, but he's going to need to be Superman to try and get Team Newlin going to make a contest of this, trailing by 22 with 14 to go.
Yeah, Costa, have no idea what movie he was in. we'll try to dig into the research that we possibly can and see if we can find whatever movie he was in. Who knows? It may have been a really famous movie. Tinseltown, a couple thousand miles away from me still, though. Other side of the country.
Yeah, it's a fair walk, isn't it? So we'll get your people to talk to my people, and we'll come back on that. We're calling the rugby league, not calling what's happening in Hollywood. But there's been some good actors out here tonight for Team Burroughs, who have certainly put their hand up for professional contracts for 2022. It's an opportunity for the scouts to have a look at what's on offer, not only from a playing point of view, but tap on the shoulder and full praise for Adam Shelton, the referee tonight, who has been in charge. And he comes from an interesting rugby league background as well, as I said earlier, from a country town in Queensland, Australia. And he played with and against, went to school with the likes of the Cooper brothers, including Gavin Cooper, who won a premiership with the North Queensland Cowboys. And he also was mixing with the likes of Chris Sando and Willie Tonga. And of course, the latter, a former state of origin great for Queensland. In fact, I called a fair bit of rugby league for Willie playing for club and country. And that's the part of the world that the referee comes from, Adam Shelton, the South Burnett in country Queensland, not too far from Australia's peanut capital. And a few of these players, Garen, Casey, if they line up and get their wish and play professional rugby league, they won't be playing for peanuts. This could be a life-changing experience tonight. 28-6 is the scoreline, and still an opportunity for people to put their hand up at the back end of this contest.
Yeah, Costo, it is an opportunity for them to really be seen. So, I mean, you've got two different sides here right now. You got one that's actually been controlled very well in Ryan's team. Nick's guys are actually going through just a few issues with their ball control. But apart from that, there's been a lot of good exchanges and a lot of good performances from Team Newlin as well. I think QB Jackson has been one of the best for them. John Paul in the centres, Nick himself, Offerdale. So you've still got some good players coming out of that team, but there is an opportunity for them to actually get professional contracts.
Time will tell as to which way those cards fall, as we see Team Burroughs putting their foot down once more, 11 to go. And now here is another try. Surely they have cracked them again. It's becoming a procession here. And it's Nalame in 16 who joins the party. Who needs to go to the Big Apple to see the St. Patrick's Day Parade? You can see a procession like this in Kannapolis, North Carolina. A big night for the team in red. They get 4 more.
Yeah, I think this one's just clearly a try for just people being tired. As we said, you've got a depleted bench. You've got guys playing more minutes than what they normally should. So that was a really easy try out of dummy half for Nalame.
Shane Nalame in 16. Referee Shelton pointing to the spot. And the numbers are in the frame in the Carolina Cup. First of its kind as we move into the final 10 minutes of the contest. And Max Rism, 23-year-old Englishman, got at goal here. And they look shattered, don't they? Kick on its way. I might hand over to Dustin Zare to provide some commentary on that. I couldn't quite catch it, D.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Max Rism. He did convert on that one. So he's been solid on the day on his kicking. He really has. That last play, he broke through for about 30 meters or so, just slicing through the defense, as Garrett said. Really just a tired defense, it looks like, from Team Newlin over here. But still about 9 to play, though. So we'll see if Team Newlin can knock a couple back on him.
It's an impressive scoreline for Ryan Burroughs and his team, albeit against a depleted opposition. 34 points to 6. Jason Costigan's my name. We trust you have enjoyed the telecast as that kick goes way out on the full. Well, I'm not sure if they're selling hot dogs tonight, but that had plenty of mustard. Too much of it.
Well, like what I said earlier in the broadcast, Costo, the one thing you don't want to do is continue to have forwards kick. And there is another example of that.
So a touch finder coming up here for Rism. Coming across the Atlantic to come to college, and hence he has found a home in this part of the world, but I'm sure very proud of his English heritage. And he has certainly been in the thick of it tonight. I know there's been a lot of praise, and rightly so, for Ryan Burroughs, part of that USA World Cup connection that's on show here tonight. But no doubt about it, the standoff rhythm has been quite prevalent, particularly in attack. You can see him calling for the football here, wanting the steed in that first receiver. And on this occasion, it's dribbled out the back door and it's a knockback. So that's permissible in this game. If you propel the ball towards your own try line, it's okay. As we see Team Burroughs making more metres here. This is looking very, very dangerous for Team Newlin and the Red Army. Surely not again. Yes, indeed. Well, the floodgates opened some time ago, and there's no way of stopping Ryan Burroughs. He is hot to trot. Give me the steed, and I will do the rest. It is 38-6.
Yeah, again, another one of those tries that's just come about from just a tired defensive line. You can just look at the speed in which they're getting back. At the same time, as what was said before, it's a retreating defensive line. And when you got guys hitting the advantage line like Big Zulu did there and getting a really good play of the ball, it's really easy for the dummy half to get over.
Well, I'll tell you what, in hindsight, Buston's Air, they are very lucky, Team Newland, that they actually got on the stripe early on through the amazing footwork of that Koopy Jackson, who's been one of their better performers. Otherwise, Team Newland, who looked shot to pieces in the end goal, as Rism raises the flags once more. Yeah, had it not been for Koopy Jackson, Team Newland, they would be on 0. They'd have the big Krispy Kreme donut to their name. Luckily for them, they've avoided what would have been an utter embarrassment as Team Burroughs hit 40. And don't tell me otherwise. I'm sure you love a donut.
Yeah, we all love donuts, especially
getting
here
hungry
in North Carolina, right?
Well, I'm getting hungry. So Team Burroughs, they're dining out. They're feasting on Team Newland. And I saw that fried tucker, as we'd say down under, that food next to Samantha at halftime. It made me hungry, and nothing's changed. And Team Burroughs, they're having their own feast here with 5 to go. Can I ask you, Garen Casey, what do you make of tonight's game? It's been a mismatch. Let's not sugarcoat it. Team Newland down on personnel, and the injury to Kavanagh, who I dare say is in hospital being checked out, and we wish him well. I'm sure I speak on behalf of everyone involved in the North American Rugby League community. But what's the take-home message tonight? Team Burroughs obviously far too classy, leading 40 points to 6.
I mean, I think you mentioned it perfectly there by way of a depleted side. So you've got a situation there with like Nick's team actually losing. Oh, hang on. There's an opportunity.
Here we go. Hold the phone. The Red Army, they have gone through them once more, and it's party time again in K-Town. Well, Team Newland, their defensive line, going through it, it's like a hot knife cutting through butter. And Noble gets a second 4-pointer, and it blows out to 44-6. Dear, oh dear.
He just teleports here. Look, as I was saying, a really depleted team, tired defensive line, but this guy's got some wheels and he's good on his feet, good vision, and his acceleration. Wow. You want to get that ball to him as much as you can.
At Costo, it's looks as though that combination out there with Luscious and Noble has just been scintillating. You know, really, you look at what Noble did right there. He seemed to be breaking away from about half Team Newlin right there. A juke step, a side step, a spin move, and then just that acceleration, as Garen talked about, really exciting the crowd. You know, at least the crowd's getting a good show tonight. Lots of tries on the board as that kick goes over again for Max Rism.
46-6. The fire department with a bird's eye view of proceedings here. No wonder they haven't gone back to the station. Team Burroughs, they are running hot. They are cooking with gas, leading by 40.
Yeah, just picking up from where I was before that try, Costo. The big difference in this match here tonight has been the speed of play out of Ryan Burroughs' team. And it does help when you got your 6 and 7 commanding everything. Unfortunately, because of Nick's depletions on the bench, he has been able to turn a lot of backs over and try and slow them down. So, unfortunately, we're looking at a scoreline which isn't favourable to Nick's team, but they've worked hard. And when we started doing this after the draft, the teams were very, very even. But unfortunately, with these injuries, it's not going the way of Nick's team here.
Far from it. Malu with another restart. Part Tongan, part Samoan. Very much proud of his Pacific Islander heritage. And he's had plenty of restarts and plenty of practice as we move into the final 2 minutes of the contest here tonight, as we see Team Burroughs spreading the ball towards our camera position. And away they go once more. Look at this. The points just keep on coming. Team Newlin, they are leaking like a sieve. And Luscious, well, he was off to the races, and not for the first time tonight. They hit 50 in K-Town.
Just take a look at the ball here from Noble. Just a little flick pass, draws in the winger, and just puts him way down the sideline. So that was great vision there. And again, we spoke about his footwork. And when you got Luscious outside you, it's a good opportunity just to use your speed to burn. So as you see here, just step off the left, good vision, draws in the winger, and away he goes.
There was no one giving chase, not really. There's some cover coming across at the end, but all in vain. I'd love to see him in a foot race over 100 metres, fully kitted.
Well, there's
Now
a few
a
of them
shot
like
at
that. There's a few of them like that, Costa. You know, like Noble, Luscious, even the guys on the other side, Paul Jr., Forston, they've all got wheels. So, but certainly on Ryan's team, they've shown themselves massively tonight.
Kick from Rism on the money, and full time is about to blow here. So 34 years on after the State of Origin came to California, and 17 years after the Kangaroos were hopping around the streets of Philadelphia, the first ever Carolina Cup comes to conclusion here in Kannapolis. It's all over. And Team Newlin put out of their misery, and celebrations aplenty for Team Burroughs, for Ryan Burroughs and his troops in red. They have prevailed here, and it's been a thumping victory, a shellacking in claiming the very first ever Carolina Cup. They win this ball game 52 points to 6. An impressive scoreline against a depleted Team Newlin. Two sides embracing. Congratulations to all athletes who put their best foot forward tonight, and also to the match officials for this very first ever Carolina Cup. We will take a break here from Kannapolis, North Carolina, and we'll have a bit more on the other side of this. Don't touch the dial. You've been watching the Carolina Cup, the first ever, thanks to the North American Rugby League. Back with more from K-Town right after this.
Tonight's special coverage of the Carolina Cup has been brought to you by Agave Marketing Solutions, the City of Kannapolis, the Hilton at the Newark Airport, and the NARL. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping support the growth of rugby league in America.
Welcome back to Kannapolis Memorial Stadium here, where it's party time for the team in red. They have collected the very first ever Carolina Cup. I'm Jason Costigan. Trust you've enjoyed the coverage. I certainly enjoyed calling the team in red. They got us going on 8 minutes. And it was Ryan Burroughs from go to woe, Aaron Casey, in the thick of it. He was in his element, setting up the first try of the night for DeMonte Noble. It was pretty to watch.
Yeah, he was certainly the commander-in-chief out there today. So him, along with Rizm, certainly dictated everything that was going on. And this guy Zulu really put a lot of damage in the defensive line. So overall, a good performance by a lot of the Burroughs players.
Look at him go there, the Zulu. Proud of his Colombian bloodlines, and I'm sure he'll be keen to perhaps play for Colombia in the South American Championships next year. Here he is on 26 minutes. Demanding the football and just going through some paper-thin defence to get that try. And then nice shift out wide here, Aaron Casey. And boy, oh boy, has this genesis. Well, it could be the genesis of a new career in rugby league. Great name, and I dare say he can back it up, although perhaps a bit too much showmanship there, overshooting the runway. I think I called it live. Thank goodness he's not landing planes on the USS Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, one of those guys that's got plenty of speed. You want to get in the ball as much as possible, and as you said, just put the ball down. You know, get over there, and as I said earlier, if you want to be a goal kicker, I'd be very, very angry with him for that. As you see on the next try there.
And that next try coming from Koopy Jackson. This was the only try of the night for Team Newlin. It was lean pickings, needless to say. And after that, on 49 minutes in the second stanza, with Sterling Wynn going over, courtesy of terrific vision from his captain and playmaker wearing the one jumper, part of that spine, which is the 1, 6, 7 and 9 jumpers. And it was normal programming resuming thereafter.
Yeah, it was all one-way traffic after that. Team Burroughs getting a lot of quick play the balls with a retreating defensive line, and they were just virtually been able to walk through a lot of the tries coming up.
In good field position, and Burroughs, well, he was like a rabbit. He was burrowing towards the goal line, and he got there. He got on the whitewash and planted the ball, 4 points in the bag, and they weren't done with, were they, Aaron Casey? They were hungry, and this standoff in the headgear, Max Rizm, well, he was a great support act, wasn't he? And laying the foundations of Malame getting a try with 10 to go.
Yeah, you certainly want that out of your 6 and 7. A lot of commanding and dominating vocals coming out of those players. So he certainly took a lot of pressure off Ryan and also Nalame when he came off the bench. But we've got to pay a little bit of tribute to Joe Eichner as well in the 13. He really put himself out there tonight and really held down the fringes defensively. So a lot of good opportunities.
That's exactly right. Eichner doing a lot of the spade work, rolling up the sleeves and not showing pace like this. That's not his job. But laying those foundations for the speed merchants to come into their own. And once they spread the ball against a retreating defensive line, Aaron Casey, they were just at 6s and 7s and a lot of jersey grabbing from the white team, and they got punished accordingly.
Yeah, certainly at this time of the game, you know, you're looking for that 80-minute mark. Unfortunately, as we said, with Nick's team, they've got a few depleted people with injuries, but a lot of opportunities there for the speed guys, and you saw again here with Noble putting a luscious way for for his last try.
From the Hartford Harpoons. Well, he was deadly. And plenty of material for the highlights reel here. And I'm sure his DVD will get a flogging as he looks back on the memories of tonight. So there you have it, the Carolina Cup. We will take a break, and when we come back, we'll put a lid on it. It's been a big night for Team Burroughs. A demolition job on Team Newlin, winning 52-6. Stay with us. We'll wrap it up on the other side of this. Welcome back to Kannapolis, North Carolina, where the two teams are embracing terrific sportsmanship here at the final whistle. And there's some big boppers out there sucking in the big ones. We may well have ozone depletion above this part of North Carolina, and for good reason. There's some big boys out there sucking in the big ones, and they will sleep well tonight. And even some smaller boys who have shown plenty of pace and entertainment tonight, particularly the team in red, who are now posing for some photo opportunities, and so they should. Congratulations to Ryan Burroughs and Team Burroughs on winning this game. And Garen Casey, a night to remember. Lovely to be here watching these proceedings, calling the action from Kannapolis on an historic night. The very first ever Carolina Cup, 52-6 to Team Burroughs. What did you make of that?
It was definitely an interesting game. As we said at the beginning, both teams very equal. Unfortunately, as the game progressed, there was a lot of depletion in the Knicks bench, but overall, very, very good showing for rugby league in North Carolina.
And D, I dare say from the American point of view, there's a lot of positives to take out of this game, a showcasing of homegrown American talent, notwithstanding the fact we had players here tonight from all walks of life. So many interesting stories in terms of their heritage from Latin America, the Pacific Islands, Australia, Europe, the UK, South Africa. What a mix. What a night for rugby league.
Yeah, absolutely, Costo. I think it's been great to watch here. Great to see all the players, really exciting players that a lot of people probably don't know about or haven't heard of yet. And that's going to be hopefully the goal of the North American Rugby League, and just building on rugby league as we continue to move forward, is to get some of these players like DeMonte Noble, Genesis Lussus, some of these players that haven't been seen, Koopy Jackson. Hopefully those become household names here in the future.
Here's hoping. Well, it's time for us to sign off here. I've enjoyed calling this game tonight from Kannapolis, North Carolina. And on behalf of Garen Casey, my co-commentator, and our American friend Dustin Zare, and our entire production team in Kannapolis, North Carolina, I'm Jason Costigan, bidding you a good night, and we'll catch you next time on North American Rugby League.